This is Super Yacht News with eSysMan. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I've got quite a few stories tonight because it feels like I've been gone for a month, but it's only actually been like maybe 6 days since I've done a news video. But anyway, let's get right into it. So I've got a few stories. I've got the one I've been following the most is the Amadea arriving in Hawaii. I've got Sailing Yacht A is on the move. Very interesting. Arrested Sailing Yacht A in Trieste in Italy. I've got some more details about the accident in Tarragona. The support vessel, the search and rescue, or the Coast Guard vessel crashing into the yacht and the yacht sinking. The first story is Sailing Yacht A is back in the water. If you remember that Sailing Yacht A is this massive 142 meters or 465 feet assisted sailing yacht, and it was built in 2017, and the vessel was arrested on the 9th of April in Trieste in Italy. So it was in a dry dock facility when it was arrested, been there ever since. However, in the last 24 hours, the vessel is being refloated and it's back in the water. Now, there's no word on why the vessel's back in the water. I don't think it's been released from the arrest. I think what's happening is the shipyard has simply had it removed from the dry dock facility so they can actually use it for other vessels. The Sailing Yacht A is at anchor now, just off the coast of Trieste, and it doesn't seem to have any plans to go anywhere. And I think that's the key, is that I think the vessel is still arrested. It's just been moved out to make way for that shipyard to be able to use that. Obviously, the vessel is owned by Andrei Melnichenko, who also owns Motoryacht A. He has the both striking looking vessels. They're both named after him and his wife. They both names begin with A, the first names, so that's why the vessels are called A. There's no official reason for why it's back in the water, but like I said, I think that's the reason. Mr. Melnichenko has described the sanctions as nonsensical, and he says he will challenge them in court. We're going to come back to that in another video. So the next story, which is one that I have wanted to make for a few days now, and the mainstream media beat me to this one, I'm afraid, is Motoryacht Amadea arrived in Hawaii, in Honolulu in Hawaii. And the footage you see on the screen right now, the video footage and the photos, was one of my subscribers, and his name is Omar Tawari. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And he provided this, so thanks very much for that. So the vessel had an ETA of about 1600 UTC on the 16th of June. The vessel arrived a little bit late of that ETA, which was on the AIS system, but those are put in manually, so I wouldn't carry too much weight on those whenever you see them on marine traffic or anything. But what's interesting is the vessel was actually escorted into Hawaii by a US Coast Guard ship, and the Coast Guard ship was called the CG Joseph Gazak. I think that's how you pronounce it. It is obviously, there's no requirement for any military or Coast Guard vessel to broadcast AIS, and they only do it to help with, with the identification when they want to. So they can switch that off. So it is quite possible that the Coast Guard vessel was escorting that yacht, Motoryacht Amadea, a lot longer than what we saw on marine traffic or on AIS. Amadea was scheduled. There's a website called portcall.com, a Hawaii website that you can see what's coming and going, and it was scheduled to leave on the 18th at 0700 UTC time, but the vessel just moved from one berth to another and is still there as I make this video. So there's no word on the vessel leaving yet. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe they would always plan to do that, or maybe there's some issue, or they've got to wait for some clearance or something. I don't know, but they've moved to another berth. But they're still there in Honolulu. So if you're interested, if you live in that area, go and check it out. I believe it's in a military area or a restricted area, but I'm sure there's some location that you can get to see, as Omar did for these videos and photographs here. Okay, so I have an update on the accident in Tarragona. If you remember, a support vessel, a Coast Guard, I think it's a Coast Guard support vessel, was reversing in the marina, and it crashed right into the side of this schooner, this beautiful sailing yacht. I've got some footage here of what it looked like before the accident as well. And the vessel reversed into it, put a big hole in the side, and then they moved away. Now, in the mainstream media, they were saying that the vessel had dropped both anchors to try to prevent. Obviously, there was a problem that the vessel was stuck in reverse gears. It was moving astern quite fast, and the story in the mainstream media is that they dropped both their anchors to try to prevent the accident. However, there were many eyewitnesses to this accident, and the eyewitnesses just happened to be many marine professionals, because obviously the place is full of yachts. And I was contacted by quite a few people, and what they told me is that after the accident, a lot of the crew from other vessels ran to assist the crew that were on board that yacht. There were actually 6 crew members on board that yacht, and they went on board. They tried to help them put like a tarp over the side of the vessel to try to prevent water ingress, but until they realized how massive the hole was and realized there was no point in doing that. What they told me is that the 6 crew lost all of their belongings. The only things they managed to retrieve were their passports, and they lost everything else on the bottom of the marina there. But what's interesting is about the response of the crew of that red vessel, and considering that they are part of the Coast Guard and the search and rescue for Tarragona. This is what an eyewitness told me, and I'm going to read out his statement. And he says, despite what some news outlets broadcast, the rescue ship didn't drop either anchor, and it seemed like the vessel was still going astern even after the collision. Most of the crew of the sailboat were on deck, and no one was reporting any injuries at the time. We had guys helping within minutes, attempting to cover the hole with a tarp and taking over a pump and air hoses, but the hole was obviously too big. The rescue boat moored at the other end of the marina and didn't show up until almost half an hour later. So this is the boat that caused the accident, just went and docked itself over in the corner there, and nobody showed up from that vessel for half an hour. He said by which point the stern was already underwater, and by the time they got there with a pump running, water was already going down the aft companionway. My captain was watching from the dock, and at that point called us off. There were a crew from most boats in the marina assisting to some degree. He said local emergency services were pretty shocking and didn't turn up until everyone had abandoned ship. He said the big rescue boat just returned to the dock. That's the one that caused the accident. The one that came over is a smaller, like 30 to 40 foot one from the other side of the marina. It was pretty shocking, really. So that's an eyewitness report of that accident, and you can see some. There's a very short video here of the actual impact and some photographs from that incident. So that's quite shocking. If that is the case, I mean, these were eyewitnesses, and like I said, they're not just people who were standing by the marina; they're actually seafarers themselves. So people, you know, it's a more qualified view of the situation, if you like. Okay, so we'll move on to the next story. So this is about a yacht that I mentioned in the last Super Yacht News. It's a yacht called Galaxy of Happiness, which is a very strange name for a boat. This boat is apparently being towed, and so what's happened is the owner of the vessel was placed on the sanctions list on the 6th of June, I think it was, the 2nd of June, sorry. And he has this vessel. It's a 53 meter or 174 foot yacht. It's a very strange looking thing. I've actually referred to it as a Klingon bird of prey in past videos. And what is interesting about this is it would appear that this yacht was heading, obviously he's under sanctions now. The vessel is very often seen in the south of France near Cap Ferrat, where the owner has a villa. And so the vessel was heading east towards Turkey, and it looks like the vessel got into some sort of trouble. Either they ran out of fuel or they had some sort of engine trouble, and they were actually, it would appear that they were actually adrift for at least 24 hours, judging by this past path from marine traffic. The vessel looks, it shows 0 knots, and its position is moving sideways, and that looks like a vessel that is adrift. So that vessel appeared to be adrift from around 1600 UTC on the 15th of June, and was collected by an ocean-going tug on the 16th of June at around 1800 hours, so approximately a full day at sea. So the tug was called Christie 14, and it looks like it was dispatched from Greece, as you can see from the track, and it headed to the scene and collected the vessel, and now it looks like that tug is towing it to the island of Crete. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? And it's very, very slow going for that tug. It's doing about 4 knots. And the vessel, the Galaxy of Happiness, has got on its AIS, it says restricted maneuverability, which suggests that it is, it's not under its own power. So that's quite interesting. If I get any updates on that, if you're in Crete and you see these vessels arrive, please be sure to get a photo or some video or something, or let me know, at least at very least, let me know if you saw it come in being towed. Okay, so finally, I just want to say, as always, thanks very much to everybody who's contributed. I read everything that comes through. I also have a researcher now who helps out. I have a couple of people working with me. We have a small team now. We read everything. We can't always reply to everything because there's just so much stuff, but we appreciate everything that everybody sends in. So if you've got any information about any of the stories that we mentioned tonight, or any stories that we haven't mentioned, please be sure to get in touch in the usual way. You can go to the About page on the YouTube channel, or you can go to Facebook Messenger, or you can get me on Instagram. All right, thanks very much for watching. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the little bell for future notifications. All right, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.